Dragon Eclipse is a new roguelike deck building game that's a mix of a few popular titles in this genre. The game just hit early access and I've spent about 10 hours playing it. In this video I will share with you my thoughts on Dragon Eclipse to help you decide if it's worth jumping in now or you're better off waiting for some more updates. Overall, the game has been a very pleasant surprise. It has quality graphics with very nice art style. The gameplay is also fun. The monster team plus deck building options offer interesting synergies and builds. I get excited to try new monsters with their powers, and that's always a great sign for this type of games. For reference, my favorite titles in this genre are Slay the Spire, Monster Train and Tainted Grail Conquest. So if our tastes are similar, then you will probably enjoy Dragon Eclipse as well. I believe Dragon Eclipse has a lot of potential to be one of the best games in the genre. But despite being quite polished release to an early access, the game has some areas for improvement, which we will discuss as well. First, let's discuss what Dragon Eclipse is and what it is not. Dragon Eclipse is a charming roguelike deck builder, similar to games like Slay the Spire and Monster Train. If you have played Slay the Spire, you will notice the deck building and battling monsters as you progress towards the boss of each run. The Monster Train vibes come from managing a team of monsters. Positioning is key here. Some monsters are better in the front, while others do well in the back. Initially I thought the game would focus a lot on taming monsters since your character is, well, a tamer. But taming isn't a big part of the game. Hatching monsters is more of the progressive system. After a run, you might get a monster egg as a reward. The egg stays at your base and you need to meet certain criteria during your runs, like blocking damage or collecting currency to hatch it. So, if you are looking for a game where you tame monsters like in Pokemon or Temtem, Dragon Eclipse might not scratch that itch. So how does Dragon Eclipse actually play? In Dragon Eclipse, you start by choosing your tamer for the run. This choice affects the passive buff you get. The first default tamer gives you a free card choice after every battle. Another tamer gives you extra currency at the start, which is used to upgrade your monsters, called here Mistlings. And you also use that currency to upgrade your deck. There are currently 6 tamers available in the game, and some have really cool passives. But that's it for how tamers affect your run. They don't have unique decks, nor do they have unique monsters available to them. Your deck changes based on the Mistlings you choose for your free monsters team. Each Mistling adds a specific card to your deck. Positioning your Mistlings is also very important. The front monster attacks at the start of the round, while the other 2 in the back are activated and don't attack automatically. The activation triggers special abilities unique to each Mistling, like attacking a random enemy or adding vulnerability to an enemy. And once you have picked your tamer and Mistlings, the run begins. Each run in Dragon Eclipse feels like traversing RPG map where you travel with your character, opening chests and visiting NPCs. But the map actually plays more like a Slay the Spire board, where you progress in certain direction by defeating enemies that are blocking the way. The cool part is you can actually change direction if you want specific rewards, and also you can visit NPCs whenever you like. Each run has a number of encounters leading up to a boss fight. So far I've seen 3 different bosses, each with unique attacks and strengths. After each battle you get rewards like gold, which is used for merchants and NPCs, and you also get mist berries. Mist berries are super important, because you use them to upgrade your Mistlings and your deck. Winning encounters gives you resources and lets you choose what you want to improve. Since upgrading Mistlings and your deck uses the same limited resource of mist berries, you have to choose which one to upgrade. Upgrading Mistlings can be very powerful, especially if you choose good synergistic upgrades for fun builds. And after 4 upgrades, a Mistling evolves, increasing its health, attack, upgrading its unique card, and adding a powerful passive trait. But there is a catch. Each time you upgrade a Mistling, the next upgrade for that Mistling gets more expensive. So you have to choose. Do you focus on one Mistling only? Or perhaps you spread your upgrades more evenly? So far, I have found that prioritizing upgrading the front Mistling is the best tactic in my setups. The front monster attacks the most and gets hit the most as well, so keeping them strong is key. There are many upgrades that synergize with the front line, like adding more shield, power or thorn-like mechanics. One of the biggest strengths of Dragon Eclipse is that it allows for some really fun builds depending on your monsters, tamer and upgrades. I don't want to spoil too much, but there's a lot of variety and interesting powers that tamers and mistlings have. You can, for instance, go for an aggressive setup with high activations and a front mistling that is focused on attacks. They can get continuous boosts to power and strength and let you spam many attacks. Or you can, for instance, opt for a more defensive setup with stacking shields on your front mistling to hit enemies with a card that attacks based on shield value. And then you can throw into the mix Mistling's evolution power that adds attack at the end of the round worth 20% of their shield value, and you got a defensive powerhouse with a punch. Thanks to this type of build synergy and variety, the game has a lot of options, even though it currently offers only 10 monsters. So one of the most important questions here is whether Dragon Eclipse is actually fun. The answer is absolutely. A few battles into the run, you start feeling the synergies coming together. Your team of mistlings becomes quite powerful, making battles really enjoyable. There is an exponential growth to the power fantasy, right up until the boss fight. The boss fight can be a reality check, bringing you back down to earth, or it can be a steamroll, depending on how well you have crafted your deck and built your team. The gameplay in Dragon Eclipse is very enjoyable, and I see a lot of potential in this title. The synergies and fun build possibilities are already there, plus the game is pretty with a cute and charming art style and direction. But naturally, there are a few things that bothered me while playing Dragon Eclipse. First one is that once you figure out your best synergies with the mistlings you have unlocked, every run can start to feel the same. This is especially noticeable in the first few hours with the game, when you don't have all the mistlings and tamers unlocked. Next, the number of maps is quite low. In my 10 hours with the game, I have already seen maps repeating a few times. It feels like we have only maybe 2-3 map layouts, and that's definitely not enough to keep players entertained for many hours. Another issue is that after defeating the boss, your run just ends. I would love to continue my run after the first boss. It feels like my team is just getting strong, and then the run just abruptly finishes. It would be great if there were 2-3 bosses and maps, one after another like in Slay the Spire, and more possibilities to craft even wilder builds would be a welcomed addition. Another area for improvement is the size of the Mistlings roster. With just 10 Mistlings available, some monsters have clear roles, limiting our variety in roster building. And then there's the camp, where you return after each run. It feels very underutilized. There's not much to check or upgrade between runs. I would love to see some unlocks and progression paths in the camp rather than just picking a random consumable from the cook and then starting the next run. Granted, the game just released in early access on Steam, so we can surely expect more things to come and improve with time. So you still may wonder, should you buy the game now or wait? Dragon Eclipse already has enough content and systems to give you fun runs for few hours. The game doesn't feel like an alpha or demo. It's already a proper game, though a bit light on the length of runs and the number of available monsters. I recommend already Dragon Eclipse to any fan of deck building games. You will easily have fun for like 10-20 hours, steadily unlocking new tamers, monsters and cards for your deck. And if that's something that satisfies your expectations, then you can safely purchase Dragon Eclipse now. But if you want epic, long runs with multiple evolutions for your monsters, and currently you can evolve them only once per run, then you should wait to see if the game expands in that direction in the future. Also, don't expect monster catching to be a major gameplay mechanic here. It's just a predefined passive progression path in this game. Anyway, that's all from me in this video. If you enjoyed this review of Dragon Eclipse Early Access, please drop a like. And if you want to see more content from me in the future, then make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.